Hey, Spence C, it's February the 6th, and this is how to start a music business. Now, I am a musician and entrepreneur. I'm building this YouTube channel as big as it will go, and I'm also sharing what's worked, what doesn't work, and the experiments I am doing and learning from as I go along. So, today's video is all about how to start a music business. Now, it ties in with a lot of the other content. If you watch, I'm uploading daily, and a lot of the pillars that I talk about is about music business and how to monetize your music. So how to start a music business is really, it's basically how to start a business. A lot of musicians, a lot of music people think that music business is all about the music, when really the music is just the product. So it's like any business, really. You need to find a demand which you're going to supply. So you can figure out what kind of business suits you. So if you are a musician and you want to play weddings, then obviously you will find the demand and you will fill that demand with your services. If you are a recording studio, you will it's probably best to do the research first to find out if there's a demand in the area that you'll want to set up a music studio. Same goes with teaching. Is there a demand for the teaching that you do? Is it a record shop? Is it an instrument shop? Is it whatever? Is it a music school? Whatever it is, you first of all, it's best to decide and to discern where is the demand and how are you going to position yourself in a way that is better than the competition. The other thing is, if you are looking, now most people try and find things that are low competition and high rewards. Now that's the kind of metric that everyone's kind of looking for. And so, but when you're looking at using those kind of metrics, what you'll find is that if you find something that's low competition or even no competition, you might think, haha, I've hit the jackpot. There's no one else doing this. I will do it. And that's an easy trap to fall in, because a lot of the time what will happen is you will find out the reason why no one's doing it is because nobody wants it. And so, like any business, it's very prudent to test quickly the demand and what people are, what is the demand. And I'll go back to it again and again. If you are a musician, then music is kind of like a commodity. There's not really a demand for any one type of music particularly. It's more about how you do it, how you produce it, how you present it. So, for example, I would say if you're doing original music, it's kind of hard to test a demand for it necessarily. It's music in that regard is a preference. We don't need it to live. It's not like food or electric or energy, and so it's a luxury preference. And so, why should someone prefer your music over somebody else's? That's really what it boils down to. And so I'm specifically talking about if you're doing original music. So you can see now why branding and having a personal brand and an identity is so important when you're an artist, is because there's so many other millions of tracks out there that cater to all kinds of different styles. Then for yours to be any to command any kind of demand, it has to be something about it. And usually it's not always something about the music, it's about the person that's doing it or the message in the music. So again, what I recommend with that kind of stuff, if you're starting out, is to do test quickly. Is to busking is a great way of doing that, and open mics, so you can test out your music in front of a whole cross section of people. Let's say you did a busy high street on a Saturday afternoon, a whole cross section of people are milling about there. And so if you're playing your music there, you'll get to see who responds to it, or if anybody responds to it. And the response that you get, you'll start to see a pattern of the kind of people who are responding. For instance, you might start to appeal to mainly women, or you might start to appeal to mainly men, or even children. You might start to see children really respond to you. And that's a great way of sort of testing the audience, testing the market, and seeing where your music fits, because we all have an idea of, where we think it should fit. And a lot of people say, well, I want to be everything to everyone. I want to be like, just everyone likes it. And of course, that's not the best place to start. Most musicians start off with some kind of niche, some kind of genre that they start off in, and that then they cross over once they've reached critical mass in one area. They might cross over to another. Much like Radiohead did when they started off. They were kind of like indie guitar rock, and then they kind of started to cross over to more experimental progressive electronica. Now, if that had started that way, they wouldn't have had the fan base that they had. They wouldn't have had the notoriety, not the notoriety because they're not notorious, but they wouldn't have had the fame and fortune that they already had built up. And it's happened, time and again in different genres. People switch over. So that's if you're a musician. Now, obviously, if you are a music business, if you are a musician that plays weddings, for example, finding a niche there is a good idea. What kind of weddings, what kind of music do you supply? Do you supply for Indian weddings? Are you just a general musician that plays for anybody and everything, like a jukebox kind of style? Do you play just classical guitar and you play like the wedding breakfasts and the ceremonies rather than the reception? So there's all these kind of things that you can start to find out and discover, and so it's always good to test things out and to do research. I think that's with any business, is to research and do things quickly and inexpensively, so you can pivot quickly. Because you might say, oh, I'm going to do this because that's what I want to do, and then find out that there is no market for it. And the quicker you can discover that, the quicker you can find out there's not enough market share, then the quicker you can pivot into something that there is. So yeah, basically that's basically how you do it with any kind of business. It's the preparation, it's the finding what the market will bear as well, and is there enough demand, and are there enough people to pay you the kind of money that you need to survive after your overheads. So let's say you're a music studio or you want to set up a musical instrument shop. Obviously that commands a lot of upfront cash and investment. So again, is there enough there to keep the lights on and to give you a profit? That requires planning. That requires business planning. And it's not something that you would go into lightly. That you need to do a lot of research. And if you wanted to get a loan and things like that, then banks and investors will want to know that you've done your due diligence, that you've done all the preparation, you've done the research to prove that there is a market and tested it, and then it's sustainable. So basically, you start a music business. All you do is you just take the music out of it, and you just start in a business. However, obviously, the music is just the product or the service that you're selling. So I hope that sort of clears things up a bit. And remember, please like this video if you like it, share it with someone who you think wants to hear it, and subscribe to the channel. Remember, rejection is just correction, ridicule is fuel, and resilience leads to brilliance. See you tomorrow.